And hello and welcome back to my stream today, and I'm back on the shiny 3-segment Dudunsparce hunt. My name's Jason, also known as Dragon11. I'm just going to quickly prep the sandwich here. So yeah, back on the shiny hunt, so for this. And obviously today, most of what I'm going to be talking about will be the Pokemon Presents from last week. But before I get onto that, so I will just say that I'm a bit late starting and a bit tired, as I was out for 8 hours a day, walking around constantly playing Pokemon Go over the weekend for the Pokemon Tour Safari, so if I start yawning a bit and whatnot, I apologise for that. I should still get a couple of hours of shiny hunting in today, so just have to see how it goes. There should be about 4 sandwiches, give or take. Might only be 3. See how I'm going at that point. So probably slightly shorter than normal anyhow. But also had a bit of issue with OBS. I decided to make half my docked windows disappear for some reason. But got that sorted now. So yeah, so the Pokemon Presents. In all honesty, kind of disappointed by it. So most of the announcements didn't seem all that special to me. So it's like, okay, there's a few events coming to games that I've lost interest in long ago. The Pokemon Scarlet and Violet events are kind of dull, I think. I mean, I done Meowscarada, which just for the sake of doing it. So I'd already bred shinies. I don't even think you can get. You might be able to get that shiny. Don't know if it's shiny or not. Didn't really check. Didn't really matter. I've already got the shiny. So as far as I'm concerned, wasn't that interesting. The spawn outbreak events weren't all that interesting. So yeah, so nothing really all that special about it as far as I'm concerned. So it's a bit of a letdown in that regard. I was hoping for something a bit better for the event, but apparently not. So I did pick up a couple of extra Charcadets, so I can leave my existing Ceruledge and Armarouge where they are for shiny hunting, rather than putting them into my storage for the collection. But yeah, the rest would have no interest to me. I'd already got them shiny, so the Outbreak event for them wasn't that interesting. So several of them I've got multiple times, or had already shiny hunted for on stream, which was a little bit annoying, but especially Smoliv, that took me a while on stream. That was an annoying one, and then they done an event for it, so that annoyed me a little bit. But yeah, I did not have luck with that shiny hunt. But yeah, so most of the events weren't all that special. So like Pokemon Masters, Pokemon Unite, I don't really play them. I tried them a bit when they first came out. They weren't really doing anything for me, so I just stopped playing them fairly quickly. But yeah, just nothing really special about it that came out. Another series of Concierge was announced, which, okay, that was a nice little series. So I was expecting something animation based. I didn't know if it was going to be the Arden and stuff, but just Concierge instead. So there was something there. But so TCG Pocket, nothing all that special. Sort of more of the same. I'm struggling to keep up with TCG Pocket. Not a lot of people I know who started playing TCG Pocket when it first came out are all sort of stopping playing now, or they're like hardly playing anymore because they're just getting overwhelmed with the amount they're releasing. And there's an issue of power creep as well, which we see in other card games and stuff when the sets aren't evenly balanced. It's like you add another set and that set is more powerful than the last, or it has cards that synergize more than what was already about. So with every set, decks get more and more powerful. You don't get alternate options, you just get replacements. And the new top deck comes along that just overtakes everything else, and everything just gets left in its dust a bit, which I don't like it when that happens with card games. So it's physical card games, they do it as a money grab, I think, to keep you buying the latest cards, but rotation also deals with that, so I don't think it's that much of an issue usually. But in TCG Pocket, it just does just sort of overwhelm the format a bit, and it's like, okay, unless you're playing, it's like if you're playing one of the top decks, you're fine, but you've got, every time a new set comes out, you have to build a new deck, it seems, to stay sort of on top of the competitive side of the game, which I'm not interested in the competitive side of the game, so just having to keep doing that just gets tiresome. Just to sort of keep getting stuff from the events when they have like promos and stuff from them, and so I'm just getting by just barely doing the minimum on it, and there's just so much that they're releasing constantly. I don't get a chance to finish one set before the next one comes out, and with the trading still terrible in the game, it's like you don't really want to have to trade for everything using this horrible system in order to complete your collection, which is rather annoying. So it's just a bit disappointing how they've handled that. They just trying to put too much into it in a short space of time. It's just, I think it's had more of a negative effect than a positive effect. And Magic the Gathering at the moment, we've got a problem of sets being released too quickly because they've increased the number of sets that are being released each year, which we're a bit concerned that the format's just going to get overloaded. And then we've got premium sets being part of that with all the universes beyond, which is just a massive money grab from Wizards of the Coast, but so a lot of these companies don't really think about the players, they just think about the money too much, and it's a bit of a letdown because it's kind of counterintuitive that the worse they make it, the less you want to spend money on it. So, and yet they're making it worse because they want you to spend more money. So I'd rather spend a small amount of money on a game that's fun rather than a lot of money for a game that isn't, and that's what they're doing. But anyway, what else was there? The Champions. So I'm not into the competitive side of things, so for me it seems a bit dull and boring. I mean, it's basically the new, from what it is assumed, it's essentially the new sort of Stadium Battle Revolution style game. So it'll come with some rental teams you can use, and then you can upload your Pokemon from the other game, or I don't know if you will upload them or just sort of get their information from home. So there doesn't seem to be any way of sending stuff to home. So it's looks like it's just a sort of one-way sort of read the information, but not actually change the information with some Pokemon home. So it's just going to be for battling and probably not any rewards for the main games, as far as it sounds. So I think it is just for the esports side of things, because with different mechanics coming in different games, people who played past games that can't use the same mechanics anymore finding it a bit disappointing. And now we've got Megas returning to the game, but we've still got terrestrialization. That was the main thing they showed, to Terrestrialization versus Megas, and none of the games, mainstream games, feature both mechanics, so they needed a platform where people could battle with both. So with like World Championships, you can't really have someone who plays Legends Arceus, or sorry, Legends ZA when it comes out. So you could have someone who's sort of built a team in Legends ZA, but then can't use their Pokemon properly because they can't Mega Evolve in Scarlet and Violet if the World Championships is held using Scarlet and Violet. But if now they now use Champions, then that's a neutral platform, so everyone can use everything. So I think in that respect it's a good idea. It's just not that interesting to me, personally. So I'll probably play it a little bit, so if it's got like a rental mode sort of storyline part to it, I might just play through that just to see what you get, but it's not something that I'm probably going to put a lot of time into. So I am more of a sort of collector, shiny hunter, so I prefer the story, not the battling, so not the competitive side, so for me, not that interesting. So that was another sort of bit of a letdown. We were kind of hoping for, or expecting for, some sort of news from this Pokemon Synapse game that was supposed to be in development, which this, for all we know, this may be what Synapse ended up being. So we don't know what the code name for it was, but I mean, Synapse being sort of connection related, it could be that that's what it became. But so there was talk about rodeo as well, with sort of shooting and riding Pokemon, which this is nothing like that, and that's allegedly what Synapse became, but maybe there's just some crossed wires there and they're two different things. We don't know. Maybe it's something that's still in the works. So apparently rodeo was cancelled maybe, or restarted development. Maybe the team just moved on to Champions instead rather than restarting development on the same game or altered version of the game. Maybe they just sort of scrapped it completely and started on this new project. So we probably won't ever really know. So, but yeah, I think, have I gone over all the other stuff now? I think that was all of it. Though most of it wasn't all that special. So no sort of major reveals outside of ZA. So ZA was the main focus, which I'm glad it was the main focus, but even then I am disappointed in what we got of ZA. So I'm not disappointed in what they showed, because what they showed looks great. They just didn't show enough, and there's room for concern, I think, with what they have shown, and if they'd just shown a little bit more, I think that would have alleviated my concerns. And that's to do with the size of the game, because as it stands, what they've shown is just the city, and there is not enough there, if you ask me, for a full game. There has, I'm sure there has to be more to it than that. There is no way that the entire game takes place within that city setting with just the wild areas. The wild areas are too limited, I think. There's no way they could have the sort of variety of Pokemon in them that you'd need for a game like this. So even if it increases the variety as you progress, or different areas we haven't seen have different Pokemon, it's still very confined. I mean, we saw they've released a map of Lumiose, but there are no areas that stand out as being sort of drastically different biomes. We got like a sand pit, but you get play areas with sort of sand pits in, and it's like it's all stuff that you'd sort of see in a city. So all that we've sort of really seen are Pokemon that you could realistically expect to be found in a city, and it's like that is actually a very limiting factor of what Pokemon are being shown. We saw a relatively small handful of Pokemon actually in the game, because of that. And I'm pretty sure they need other areas, but the trailer was, or the announcement video was just focused on the city, and the way they done that, it made it seem as if that's all there was. That was the entire game, but I don't think it is. I think there has to be other areas that they just haven't shown yet, and I'm hoping the reason they haven't shown it is just for story elements. They don't want to spoil the story of it too much. But even so, just saying just the way they've done it so far just is very limiting. So I was sort of looking over it. We can see there's, based on the numbers that are seen on the wild areas, it looks like there's at least 8 of them, but they're all relatively small in comparison to like the areas we've seen in Legends Arceus. So I'm guessing that if you were to add them all up, they would equate to one area in Legends Arceus. Sort of at most. And I think the area size of Legends Arceus was about right. I think they got it about right with Legends Arceus with the area size for the sort of open world style. So Scarlet and Violet, they went too big. They had issues. I think they took it too far. Legends Arceus, I think they got right area size, just about. Maybe they could take it a little bit bigger, but not that much bigger, especially if it's only going to be running on the Switch, not the Switch 2. But we'll have to see. So I'm guessing if they stick with a similar sort of structure to Legends Arceus, I'd say we can expect to see 4 or so, maybe 5 other areas beyond the main city itself, is what I'm expecting. And that should give a decent variety of Pokemon to it as well. So different biomes and that sort of thing. So I'm guessing that's what we need to see. So but yeah, they just didn't show it, is what's bugging me. They didn't even make any reference to exploring outside of the city or anything like that, so it does make it very uncertain in that regards. So hopefully future trailers will show more. So we're going to get more before the game's released, because it's not being released until towards the end of the year, unfortunately. I was hoping for it to be sooner, considering how long it's been in the works. And they announced it a year ago, going a year with nothing, and so it's not unusual for the Pokemon Company to drop things at short notice. Sort of, if we know something's coming, sort of tease it and then wait ages, then this is what the game is, it's out in like 3 months. They have done that before now. There have been sort of smartphone games and stuff, they've just dropped out of nowhere. So I was kind of hoping they'd do a shorter notice to the release, and was hoping it would sort of tie in with the sort of timing of the Switch 2 launch as a sort of dual system release in the launch window for that. But unless the Switch 2 is releasing later in the year, which I still think everything's pointing to it being released sort of May, June time. And I was expecting Legends EA to come in that sort of similar sort of time frame. Sort of, there were rumours of it coming in June, but unless it's possible they do just suddenly bring the release date forward once the Switch 2's been announced, and they're just trying to hide that before then. So if they mention it's going to have like Switch 2 features or anything like that, or if they specifically mention it's going to be available on Switch 2 or refer to it being played on the Switch 2, and then say it's being released in June, then that would sort of give away that the Switch 2 is going to be out around then. So it could be that they're just sort of doing a bit of a sneaky lie. They're saying a longer date, but that's very hopeful thinking on my part though, so it's fairly unlikely that will happen, but I can hope. I can hope. But yeah, so release date wise, a little bit disappointed at the moment. I'm hoping that will come forward, but not holding my breath, unfortunately. Which in turn means I'm going to have a lot longer to play other games before then, so with my shiny hunt nearing its end, I'm sort of running out of Pokemon to shiny hunt for, so I'm going to have to... So I was expecting to be able to switch over to that relatively soon, but that seems unlikely, so I'm going to have to try and find something else to do. So I've got a few ideas, but I'll probably talk about that more on another stream. So in the meantime, I'll be finishing off these hunts. But anyway, now what else was in the trailer? So Mega's returning, that was known about, so we already knew that was coming. So there's a new sort of C+ symbol beside them, which seems odd. We don't really know what that's for yet, I don't think. So it could... So just sort of thinking of it as I go here, it's possible it could be some sort of friendship system, maybe. So Megas are supposed to be like the bond of friendship. So what if this C+ is like companionship power? And so there's some sort of charge system to do with Megas now as well. So could performing certain moves sort of charge companion power or uses companion power in order to get different effects. So maybe you can elongate the duration of Megas by using certain moves, or with having a certain level of friendship. Maybe a certain level of friendship powers up your moves, maybe. So you have had the mastery in Legends Arceus, so what if they do sort of something similar where a move gets more powerful the more you've used it with your Pokemon? So that's a possibility. Don't know. Just speculation. Completely there. The battle system itself looks very interesting. Just the fact that it reminds me of the Xenoblade games, because of how it's got sort of cooldown sort of things, and you're moving around at the same time to avoid attacks, and that reminded me a lot of... I first saw that and I thought, that looks like Xenoblade straight away. So Xenoblade's always sort of played around with battle systems, but it's got sort of very sort of common elements between the different games, and the whole moving during battle is while using sort of turn-based system has been replaced with cooldowns and Xenoblades, and so this sort of system looks a lot like that, and even the interface on screen reminded me of some of the Xenoblade games. It's like, if they've used a similar battle system to that, so I don't know who's been involved. I believe they might have even had some of the team from Xenoblade working on Pokemon games before now, so maybe it's something that they brought over from there. So it could be that it is a Xenoblade element that they've incorporated into Pokemon, which I think's great. So play around with the things that are similar. So it's RPG sort of combat. So I think that looks great. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all sort of carries over. I am glad to see Area of Effect moves back as well, because they were sorely missed in Legends Arceus when you got ganged up on and you couldn't hit every Pokemon, every opponent at the same time with certain moves. It was rather annoying. So I'm glad to see that back, which they've shown. So trainer battles as well, using that. I doubt that element of it is going to carry over into competitive battles with champions. I think it's just going to be the Megas that they take back. But how will the Megas work? Will the Megas follow this new charge system that Legends EA will use, or will it just go back to the sort of one and done system that we had before? Don't know yet. I'd assume for a standard combat system they'll use the old one. I think this new system is just for ZA because of the sort of open world nature of it. So not just popping the Mega every battle you get into while you're fighting all these sort of just general wild Pokemon. I think that's a bit over the top. So putting some sort of cooldown on it outside of battle I think works. Well, outside of trainer battles I think works quite nicely. But yeah, it looks good. So the catching mechanics have tweaked as well. So I saw that when you knock a Pokemon out, it doesn't run off straight away. It does hang around and gives you another chance to throw a Pokeball at it with a boosted capture rate by the looks of it. Which, if it's only one chance, that could be a bit annoying. But if you're going for a shiny and you get one more chance to catch it and then you still fail to catch it, it's like, oh. So especially if they do away with like false swipe and stuff, which some people I've seen suggesting that you don't need to full swipe them now. It's like, you might still want to. If they run away after one ball, then the lack of false swipe doesn't really help. So it's more a problem than a benefit. But if you accidentally knock something out when you want to catch it, and you think, oh, I've got a quick chance to throw a Pokeball now. Like if you're battling a weak Pokemon with a more powerful Pokemon, you can quite easily one-shot them, and it's like, oh no, I want to catch that. I've not got a chance to catch it now because it just ran away, just fainted. But so that edition seems good, but I hope they don't do away with the false swipe stuff. So leaving it on 1 HP so it is still in the battle, I think is still important. But so fingers crossed they haven't done away with it, because that would be nice. Also indicating it appears to indicate the catch chance with arrows on screen when you select Pokeballs, which I think is a great idea. So that the interfaces in the games have sort of been steadily improving over the years, and showing catch chance I think is a great addition. So that you can better pick which ball to use in different situations. So will a regular Pokeball do the trick, or do you need to go up to an Ultra Ball or Great Ball, whatever? So it does help with that sort of decision. So quite often you just use the most powerful ball you've got, but it's not necessarily needed in certain situations. This indicator might sort of tell you that. So if you select a Pokeball and, oh, this has got a good catch chance, I'll just use this then. It makes that a lot easier. Oh, this is going well. No shinies from the first sandwich. Oh, yes I have. Just as I say that. Come here. I think it heard me. But anyway, yeah, so all the changes to... I've rearranged these. All the changes to the battling stuff look great to me, so So a few things that would like some clarification on, but generally speaking, looks great. So all the battle stuff they look like they've put a lot of work into that, and it sounds great. It's just the sort of world that is of concern to me. So I would like other areas. So what else? So the starters. The starters is another thing to talk about. So we've got Chikorita, Tepigin, Totodile now. So a bit unexpected with 2 Gen 2 starters being in the mix. So completing the set of 3. And noticeably they're also not showing if they're getting new forms or new megas or both. So there has been the little bit of a hint we've got about Chikorita, as it's been shown to have a fairy type move which it didn't have before. I can't remember what fairy type move off the top of my head, but it never got fairy type moves before, but now it's got a fairy type move. So a lot of people are suspecting that that means it's going to become fairy type. Say, will it be a new regional form, or will it be a Mega Evolution? Hard to say. I'd like to see both. I'd like to see it to get a regional form and then have that regional form Mega Evolve, because I think that makes more sense with Mega Evolution not being seen for it before. And it means that they're more equal to there's the sandwich done. It's more equal to the other Hisuian forms that we got. So we've got Typhlosion already, which has the Hisuian form. What I'd also like would be for like Typhlosion and so other regional forms to also get Mega Evolutions. So Mega Hisuian Typhlosion could even appear in the game. Check something. Move. Yeah. Remember move. There we go. Yeah. So if they do like outbreak events like they've had in the other games, so we've seen other starters appearing in Legends Arceus and also in Scarlet Violet. If they do those and have Hisuian Pokemon appearing, then we could get a Mega Hisuian Typhlosion to add to the mix. I reordered these as well. Okay. Oop, no, hold on. Okay. Yeah, so there's possibilities there. So 3 seconds. I think I noticed that they didn't actually show Chikorita beyond its Chikorita stage. So I think you saw it at like level 15 was the highest we saw it at. Which I cannot remember off the top of my head what level it evolves. I'm guessing it's like 16 or 17 is common for the starters. But, right. Okay, there's a robot thing. Okay. But yeah, so I'm expecting it will still evolve at the same levels and stuff, but the fact they didn't show the first stage evolutions did seem a little bit odd. So could they get regional forms as well? Don't know. Say in Legends Arceus it was only the fully evolved forms that got regional variants, but don't know. Will they even evolve? Could it be that they just stay as their starter forms and then get Mega Evolutions of those? Could we see Mega Chikorita rather than Mega Meganium? Don't know. Probably unlikely. I doubt they'll do that. But I don't. That's not good. Okay. But, so we'll have to see. But so my hope is that they will get regional forms and megas. So they seem to be leaning on the megas thing, so they could just get megas. I'm not that into the megas, so that'd be a bit disappointing for me, but so I like collecting things, and if they don't get new forms, that's something I can't collect. So it would be a bit disappointing, but not the end of the world, so we'll see. We'll have to see. But so with the fairy type association with Meganium, sort of a little bit of speculation can start to be made with the megas. If they don't get regional forms and they just keep their standard typings, the megas will be the ones to get the new typings, and I think they will most likely do it with the traditional advantage disadvantage sort of rock paper scissors system that they do with, or they usually do with other starters. And if we already have Tepig, which becomes fighting type, and if Chikorita becomes, or Meganium, so Emboar is fighting type, if Meganium is going to be fairy type, we can sort of start to speculate on what the missing type will be for Feraligatr. And so if they follow the rock paper scissors sort of thing, so normally Meganium's weak against Emboar because of the grass and fire types, but with fairy and fighting, fairy is strong against fire against the fighting type, so that will sort of neutralise the weakness to some extent. So if they do that with the other starter, we're sort of looking to expect the secondary type to be strong against fairy but weak against fighting, which is steel. So I'm guessing if they follow this pattern, that we'll be looking at a steel type Feraligatr. And thematically that would kind of fit. So Metal Claw is a move that's suited to it, so perfectly feasible for it to become steel type in that sense. So how it will look, don't know. So Meganium, how will that look? Fairy type, don't know. It might not be a particularly massive change, so Meganium could like get fairy wings or something like that, or just a sort of magical flower, and it could change completely. We don't know. It could look like a flower fairy for all we know, similar to Flabébé, Floette, and Florges. So, hard to really say for sure, but that would probably be my bet with Feraligatr being steel type, in order to complete that type advantage set. So we could get, I doubt they'll go too heavy on it, turn it sort of into a robot or anything, but so that's more paradox sort of thing. Yeah, they might do, for all we know. So I do have a slight suspicion that they might be doing something time travel still, but so we could get these as sort of paradox evolutions or mega evolutions. So we could see a sort of cyber Feraligatr or like an ancient Meganium, in order to give them their additional types, but I'm getting a bit ahead of myself anyhow, so yeah, that's what I'm thinking for the sort of types of them. But so that also kind of depends on whether or not Emboar actually keeps its fighting type. If it gets a regional form that isn't fighting type, then that logic doesn't really work. But So that's more if it's sort of just megas, I think. So not getting new forms, I'd be a bit disappointed by, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. So as long as we get new forms of Pokemon or just new Pokemon in general, I'd be happy, because it gives me more to collect. But I think the reveal trailer, so as far as my shiny hunting goes, I think I'd worked out before there's 42 potential Pokemon that previously appeared in Kalos that I still need to shiny hunt, and 15 of them have basically been confirmed to be in the game from what we've seen already. So, and that's just in the city. So if we go out of the city, we should get more, but they haven't shown us that yet, assuming it's actually in the game, which I'm expecting there will be more to it. So anyway, so let's talk about the city a bit more. I don't know. So they released the map of the city. So I saw it on social media. I think I saw it on Facebook originally, but it's on the American website for the game. I don't think it was on the European one. Stupidly. Did I just miss shiny or not? I don't know. Anyway, but so I don't think it was on the European one, or it might have been just a very small image that I couldn't enlarge or anything. Which, yeah, the European site kind of sucks. But I actually found the Japanese one had an even better version of the map that actually zoomed in and had sort of interactive bits in it. So you could see where it has the pictures around the edge. You can actually see the full picture, which shows a little bit more. Nothing major, but just sort of little things are shown. I was sort of going through that and sort of looking at what was there, so I saw that there's sort of building-wise, there's sort of the two sort of major buildings from the game, the Quasartico building and the AZ's hotel are both shown. Also noticed that Hotel, was it Richisime, is also shown, which, is that got some significance, or is that just to fill some gaps? Because they've sort of shown sort of cafe tables and stuff in other places, so it might just be sort of to just decorate the map a bit more. So you can't really say much about that. But one thing I did notice from the map is others have sort of picked up on. I saw one person say they've got these strange circle shapes in the map. It's like those are the plazas from the original games. The whole layout is very similar to the original game, so they seem to have done a fairly good job of adapting the old layout to the new game. So it's 5 districts essentially with the different coloured roofs, all centred around the different plazas. But what I did notice in particular was the plazas in the original games were named after colours. So it's like vert for the green one, bleu for the blue ones, the French words for the colours, rouge and magenta for red and pink. But so they're the 5 plazas, sort of giving the sort of, which appear to have given the districts their names, and I noticed that the roofs of the districts match those 5 colours. So there's one of the districts has green roofs, one has blue, one has yellow, red and pink. So obviously to match up with the plazas. However, it doesn't. 3 of them match the plazas from the original games, but 2 of them have been switched. The red and pink ones, the rouge and magenta plazas, have actually had their roofs switched. So the area which had Rouge Plaza, which should be the red one, has pink roofs in ZA, and the one with the magenta plaza, which so the pink area, that's now got red roofs. So it's a case of, is there a reason for this? Have the plazas been switched? Is this just an oversight when they made the map of the city? I haven't really looked into it enough to sort of work that out. So it could be that they just miscoloured the roofs in the drawing, which would be a funny mistake that I've picked up on it. But, it does seem odd that they would switch the colours around like that. There's no real need to. Or is there a need to? Hard to say. Yeah, I do kind of... I really should check into that to see if that follows. So I might just be seeing something that isn't really worth sort of noting, but just I noticed it and it seemed odd. Okay. Yeah, so we've got the sort of main buildings of Quasartico and AZ, and I noticed that Quasartico is very future-based. It's looking to the future of the city, whereas AZ is very traditional. His building, his hotel, is decorated with old furniture and old paintings and photos of what I assume to be Lumiose of the past. So we have one group that's associated with the future, one group that's associated with the past. So I'm wondering if that is going to tie into the story of the game. So a lot of people have been surprised that the game isn't set in the past because of the whole Legends theme. So looking at the legends of the games and sort of exploring their sort of origins. So that's what was the case in Legends Arceus, going back to ancient Sinnoh, which was Hisui. But it does seem odd that they wouldn't do that again for a Legends game, to go back to the past. But what if they do? So what if they go sort of expand upon that? So we've had Scarlet and Violet with ties to the past and future. So what if they now have us visiting the past and the future? I was suspecting this before. I was thinking they might do this with Hooper, possibly, as a potential conduit for time travel with his rings. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. There's no sign of Hooper whatsoever in the game. Nothing hinting at him whatsoever. So, which, okay, that was just a long shot. I was just trying to think of a way that they might be able to do it. But these two groups being associated with past and future kind of makes me think it's still an option. And that could be how we go to other areas. So that would explain why they haven't shown it to us. If it's story related to do with time travel, we could sort of get that reveal in a later trailer of going to the past with one of these groups. So that, and say if these regions outside of the city that we get are past and future, that definitely opens up the game to a lot more options, and the variety of Pokemon that we'd then be able to get through the game becomes a lot more interesting. And with Legends Arceus, we only got sort of ancient forms of Pokemon. We could start to see future forms of Pokemon as well, so we could be looking at more sort of paradox style things, so past and future forms of Pokemon we know. So we may even see some of the paradox forms in the wild that we've already seen. So they may even sort of rename the paradox forms to their true names. So rather than paradox, or rather like, like Iron, whatnot, and Screamtail, and all those sorts of things, they could actually give them their proper names and Pokedex entries. So like Iron Hands could be like future Hariyama, whatever that they're gonna sort of name the. They could even just call it Paradox Hariyama instead of Iron Hands. I mean, it's fine calling them Iron Hands. They've done something similar with the Ultra Beasts. They originally called them just UB something. They had sort of keywords for them, and that's what they were originally announced as. So could they then sort of go back and update the Pokedexes for the Paradox Pokemon as sort of proper Pokemon names, sort of relating to their sort of true identity, like sort of Paradox Jigglypuff, Paradox Mischievous, rather than just calling them all these strange names that don't really fit in with Pokemon otherwise. So we could see something like that going on. So that going past and future again. And something I did consider with these sort of megas is, could they be relating to that? So could, like, Meganium, a grass fairy, that would fit with sort of ancient times, sort of mythical, sort of myths and fairy tales sort of thing, that would fit with a past Mega Evolution. Emboar is already sort of a current Pokemon, so that I could feasibly see just being the present. And for Alligator, if it's Steel type, that is perfectly in line with the future Paradoxes, all getting their sort of iron sort of identities. So could for Alligator be the future representative? I mean, even though ordering sort of type-wise, past, present, future, grass, fire, water. I think that could be the option of what we're seeing. And if this game is travelling to the past and future, then it will be taking place in the past, present, and future. So there's definitely room for these sorts of things to be in the game, I think. Say, all still speculation, but it does make things a bit more interesting if they do happen. So, what we've been shown is a bit limited, sort of world-wise at the moment. I'm just trying to come up with ways as to how they could improve that. So, I'm sure they're hiding stuff from us. They're not showing us everything. So, what could these be? So, one of the things I did consider is they're focused on the city so much. When we time travel, will we still be in the city? Or in the area that the city occupies? So, could we see, like, travelling to the past of Lumiose, or the future of Lumiose? We could travel to a really advanced cyber version of Lumiose at one point, or an ancient Lumiose that's like a primordial forest where Lumiose now stands. And that sort of thing. And that would technically all still be in Lumiose. So their focus on Lumiose would make more sense rather than travelling elsewhere. But it would give us more variety. And if they do sort of 4 other areas, say, just as a starting point, could that be that we get like 2 past and 2 future? Could they be at different points in the past? So we could get one that's sort of in the near past, sort of when sort of Lumiose is just a village. So we could see like a village of Lumiose. Maybe the hotel, Az's Hotel, seems to be quite old, so maybe it would be where Az's Hotel was first built, in this little village. I just called him Az again. It's AZ. I always called him Az before, just because they never actually clarified how to read his name. I need to get into the habit of that. AZ. AZ's Hotel. So could we see AZ's Hotel as one of in an early sort of Lumiose village, surrounded by sort of grasslands and fields and stuff? Maybe that could be one of the areas. Maybe the other past one. There's a shiny. Yeah. Could the other past one be the primordial forest sort of thing? Oh, stupid. Come here. Stupid thing. So that could be the two sort of past periods to travel to from Lumiose. So they could all be occupying the same area, so still in Lumiose, but just... So you could say it was Lumiose Forest as the ancient forest, or Lumiose Village for the village, so they could all be Lumiose something. And I think that opens the game up to a lot more sort of possibilities. There could be like a lake in Lumiose, near Lumiose Village. So we've got all the waterways. What if there was a big lake as well? So that just got filled in when the city was made. So that would allow us a wet area, a watery area. So a jungle, sort of lake. So these would all give different biomes beyond the standard city that has been shown. And then we've got the future. So what could they show with the future? So obviously one would be like a cyber Lumiose. So maybe super advanced, so maybe it's even sort of airborne and we could get the flying elements added into it, with Lumiose having been raised up into the air and maybe sort of leaving. So it seems to be that sort of Zygarde is to do with the balance between man and nature, so maybe sort of leaving the ground to nature and moving man above it. So we could see the city in the air, and then the ground having been turned into some like a nature preserve, you know, sort of pristine area with different habitats having been built, to maybe even having the old Lumiose having been sort of demolished to make space for it. We could see the old layout within this sort of nature reserve that's been built, and that would allow them to bring in other types of Pokemon that haven't been seen there before. And the other one, could it be that there's some sort of apocalyptic future that they're trying to prevent? And we see an option. It could just be a possible future that they go to. So if the future isn't set in stone, they could go to a potential future where there's some sort of apocalyptic event that's happened. They're trying to prevent. Could it be sort of Zygarde running amok and destroying the city? So we've sort of seen Zygarde go destructive in the anime before now. Could that be where they go in the future? So just a wasteland, so it could be like pollution and sort of toxic sort of swamps sort of things, or pools of toxic substances, and sort of ruined buildings, flames, fire, volcanoes, and just sort of an apocalyptic wasteland sort of area that could open up more options for biomes to explore. There could be fire and ice alongside one another to give those biomes. Hard to say, but I think time travelling like that would give us the option to get the areas we need while still staying within Lumiose's boundary. So that could be it. It could be that although you can time travel, you can't venture beyond Lumiose. So it could be that the tower at the centre is the sort of key point that acts as a restrictor as to how far you can go. So there may be sort of an invisible barrier that might even be a visible barrier that you can't go beyond to stop you from exploring beyond that. And as long as there is a plot point to explain it, I don't mind barriers like that if they make sense to the story. So, like, you can't go beyond a certain distance from this point because of how you've sort of travelled to the past or travelled to the future. I think that works. Maybe they could even expand the area you can go to each time as you level up. It allows you to travel further away from the central point, which then allows you to find more Pokemon each time you go, so if your distance increases. That could work as a sort of simple way of sort of restricting how far you go. So rather than just going, okay, you can go to this area first, and then this area, and then that area, what if they say, here's the past, here's the future, you can go to both, but you can only go a certain distance from your starting point. So that's definitely an option. So having the tower as a centre point would make sense. So the tower was where the gym was, and Clement, I think it was an inventor. So could there be all these inventions, maybe a time machine in the tower that you use, perhaps to do research for Quasartico or for AZ? So maybe they're sort of asking you to research things in the past and future, and you're doing quests for them to make you go to these places. Maybe they say this apocalyptic landscape that you discover. So it could be that you just go to a short distance to start with, and then go to the distant past and future once you get to a certain point. But what if it's when you discover this apocalyptic future, you're trying to prevent it, and Quasartico will be sending you to the future, maybe, to find what went wrong by researching there. Maybe AZ will send you to the past to try and find a solution in the past to what happened. Maybe whatever caused it has happened before, or he believes it had happened before, so he sends you in the past to see what had happened then. So if it is Zygarde, then go to the past, encounter Zygarde, and so see what Zygarde done in the past, and then go to the future to stop it, or go to the present to stop it from happening in the future. So we could see a new form of Zygarde. So it always sort of struck me as a bit odd that Zygarde would take the form that's sort of completed form or perfected form, whatever it's called. It seems a bit odd that it would take that form, considering it's supposed to be a balance between man and nature sort of thing. So Zygarde always seemed odd to me in that respect, and it's got these very uniform hexagon shapes to it. Well, actually it's sort of more cell shape, but when it's represented they're done as sort of equilateral hexagons. And that seems very sort of manufactured when it's supposed to be sort of natural. So I'm wondering, in the logo of the game we have, I think the Z is the hexagons, but the A is these sort of leaf shapes, I guess, or the scales maybe. Could Zygarde get a new form that is more natural looking? Say its sort of complete form is like almost like a giant robot. So that always seemed odd to me. It seemed unnatural for a Pokemon that's supposed to be natural. So could that be like Zygarde's sort of future, where it goes sort of destructive? And could there be a past Zygarde that can counteract that? So perhaps we even go to our time travel even causes all these problems to happen. What if we go to the future and we lead the future destructive Zygarde back to the present, and then we have to go back to the past in order to fetch the ancient Zygarde that can stop it? And we just end up with a giant monster battle between these two Zygardes. It's a kind of crazy idea, but that'd be funny to watch. So could ancient Zygarde could be could be like a Gundam versus Godzilla. So just this sort of scaly sort of pattern would make sense, but So Zygarde's base forms are like a dog and a snake, essentially. I think it's supposed to represent a tree, but I think Xerneas is more of the tree, but of the set. But I think it's more snake. Possibly the Ouroboros, the eternity snake that's eating its own tail. I think might be what Zygarde's partially drawn from. Which, with the balance of nature, makes sense. Life and death. That's sort of what Ouroboros represents. But it would be interesting if we saw something like that with a new form of Zygarde, maybe. So we might even get both. We might get the future Zygarde and the past Zygarde, with the Zygarde with Sin just being the present one. So it says in its description that it can reconfigure itself by reorganising its cells. So it makes perfect sense that Zygarde can take different forms. I mean, we see it when it's got different number of cells. What if, when it's got all its cells, it can take multiple forms depending on what it wants? So it would make sense. What am I down to? Well, that's one from this sandwich. It would be great if another one popped up right this second. It worked the first time. Let's run out this sandwich. Is that done? That's it done. Right. I want to evolve. But yeah, so this whole sort of time travel idea, I think they need to have some sort of time travel just for it to be a Legends game. So the fact they haven't shown anything like that yet does seem odd, but we'll see. So I think another option I did consider was if we are limited to the city, will they be able to, so the sort of time travel wise, will we swap out sections of the city? So having like one section transported to the past, another section transported to the future. You can mix and match different sections to different periods. So still sort of keeping with the sort of time travel thing, but rather than you time travelling, have the city changing. But I think that's less likely. I think you are going to have some sort of time travel element yourself, and have the main city as sort of a hub or starting area type thing. Which I think that having that as a hub is fine. I just don't think it can be the entire game. That just really bugs me. It just does not look right. So travelling to the past and future, so we could see Paradox Pokemon we've seen before now. So if the ancient past and distant future, whatnot. So you could see Paradoxes returning in the wild. Maybe new Paradoxes. Maybe just do them as regional variants this time, but so they haven't really shown anything like that. I'm just sort of speculating, but I would like it if they did something like that, just because I think the game needs it. So, also got at the end of the trailer that little teaser of a rank up invite or something like that, which appears to be, so they appear to be sort of putting more into the battling side for this game that Legends was lacking. So I'm wondering if they're going to add their own sort of Lumiose League to the game, and the sort of logo that was on it was the tower. So could the tower originally housed the gym, so could that still host the battles for sort of major battles in this league? So if the main Pokemon League is no longer active in the town, the city, could they have come up with their own league? So it could be something similar to the anime where you have to sort of fight certain trainers to increase your rank. Once you rank up high enough, so this is what Ash done with the Master League stuff. Once you beat enough trainers, you level up your ranking and then can ascend to the next tier and then battle different trainers. So could they do something like that? That would work great, and with the sort of open world idea, you can sort of find the trainers standing around at different times, and to have the fights sort of in the streets rather than sort of just in gyms and stuff, which could be an interesting way of doing it. Could that be also how you progress through the game by beating these trainers? And I thought it was shiny on it. But yeah, so could you have to level up in order to increase the times you can time travel to? So it could be that to start with you're just restricted to the city, and then once you've sort of ranked up once, like the first gym sort of essentially, that then allows you to, so if this is all sort of based in the tower, the rewards could be related to time travel. So by beating the first sort of level, you could gain the ability to time travel, which I think would be a decent way of doing it. That sort of keeps progression sort of related to the gyms, like in the main games, or the equivalent of the gyms, sort of Pokemon League stuff. Sort of keeps the progressions similar to the main games, but still sort of fitting in with the story. So as you sort of progress through one thing, then you get more options appear, and it could work out pretty well if they do that. So I'd like to see some sort of system like that implemented. But so the battle system, the league, I like the idea of having it like in the anime. So have usually the anime draws from the games, but what if the games start drawing from the anime? So with this sort of league structure, I think that could work quite well with an open world style game. Having to track down your opponents to level up and to increase your rank in order to ascend the tiers. I think that could be a really good way of doing it. So they've only just given that slight hint to it at the very end of the trailer, so they just didn't quite show enough in the trailer. If they had just shown like a glimpse of you will also be exploring these other areas, and just have glimpses of them, not just hiding anything that revealed too much about them, just showing that there are other areas, that would have been enough to reassure me. Just don't show any new Pokemon in those areas, just show the areas. No landscaping or sort of ruins or buildings or anything that could indicate that they're past or future, just a small snippet of these areas that would show that there are other areas to explore. So having a town where you can explore and find Pokemon in the streets is great for a town, but not for an actual proper area. So just looking at Lumiose as a town or city, it looks amazing. It is the most amazing town or city we've ever had in a Pokemon game, I think. I just think they need to have shown more outside of the city, or whatever other areas we're going to explore, just to reassure us that that's not all there is, because that's what they very much implied. Because they didn't mention any other types of area that you'd catch Pokemon in, or anything. And that's what really bugged me. They just needed a little mention, just the slightest indication that there was more to it, and it would have just relieved all the sort of concerns that I have. Thanks for the follow, Chicken Wing. No, that's an odd one. What's that notification for? Oh, my chat's not updating, sorry. Oh, that was a spam message. Never mind. Okay. Never mind about that. My chat wasn't updating while I was looking at it. But yeah, so I just think they needed that little bit more just to sort of relieve some of these concerns that are there with the game at the moment. Just think they just focus too much on the city. So if you only talk about the city, that sort of implies that there's only the city. So it's just that's just a concern that it gives me, the way they done that, and I just want to be reassured that that isn't the case. So it disappointed me that they didn't give that reassurance. So it does leave me concerned. If they just cleared that up, it'd just be so much better, and I'd be able to enjoy the rest of the trailer so much more. Yeah, so yeah, beyond that, so trying to put that aside, the rest of the game that they've shown looks great. So there's probably trainer customization. It looks like the Tawny and Urbane are literally identical to the player character, just with different hair colours and different clothes, which I think is quite a funny way to do it. So could they get customizations as well? So maybe you get to dress them up. So maybe you could end up wearing matching outfits. Go on a shopping trip together. Choose their clothes. Or give them gifts, maybe. Maybe you can buy clothes to give to them as gifts and they'll start wearing them. But yeah, so it seems it seems like there's potential there for a bit of fun, but it's just not shown it yet. There's so much they could do with this game. There's so many options, but it's just sort of wide open at the moment, and it's just really frustrating that they haven't given more. It's just I mean, holding on to some of it is fair enough, not wanting to show it until release. Some that could be related to the Switch 2, maybe. So, extra options that are unlocked by playing it on Switch 2, I think could be a thing, but especially with it coming out so late in the year now. Because I'm guessing if it is that late, they are definitely delaying it. And it's a case of, are they delaying it to perfect the game, or are they delaying it because of the Switch 2? So, hard to really tell. So the only way I think the Switch 2 could be relevant is if there are features that relate to the Switch 2. People have also been making a big deal about the fact that they didn't specifically state that it was for the Switch in the trailer. So could it be a Switch 2 game instead? It's not. It has the Switch logo in the trailer. It says about trademark, the Switch is trademark Nintendo at the bottom of the website and everything. It's like everything is saying Switch. It's just they didn't explicitly state it, probably because it's going to be for both. And on the Japanese website, they have a compatible systems section, which currently just has the Switch in it, but has the space for the Switch 2 to be added once it's announced. So I think the next thing is that we're waiting for the Switch 2 reveal trailer next month. So we're a month away on that. Hopefully we get more Legends ZA stuff then. So I'm hoping they're just holding on to stuff until then, so they don't reveal sort of inadvertently Switch details as well, or Switch 2 details. So if they say that this feature has, or introduce a feature of the game and then say it's also got this option with the Switch 2, like a different control scheme, maybe. So it's kind of weird, the position we're in. So we've got a lot, we've got a lot of uncertainties with everything right now with the Switch, Nintendo. The light. It looks pink as the light, but it's not. Yeah, so overall, I was disappointed with the whole Pokemon Presents because of ZA. The other stuff didn't really excite me or anything. I was looking forward to ZA. The other stuff wasn't of interest, really. And the ZA stuff just missed the mark. So they just needed that little reassurance, and it would have made everything better. It would have. I would have just, if they just said that you explore outside of the city or you explore other areas, and just showed little glimpses of them. I mean, even just mentioning them would have been fine, just to reassure that the wild areas and in the city aren't the only place to catch Pokemon. So it was so close to being amazing for me. Some people are just over the moon about it, but they're just only looking at the battles. I mean, the battles are great, but you need more than just battles for a Pokemon game like that. I mean, if you want just battles, you've got champions coming out. That's just battles. I mean, it's the same people that were excited. They were excited about champions. Oh yeah, this is great. This is brilliant. It's like they are the exact same ones that were really hyped about the ZA trailer because it's just focused on just the battles thing. They're just not really thinking about story and actual exploration and gameplay and stuff. It's just battles. It's what they're excited about. And when they sort of gave their summary afterwards, they were just sort of focused on the battles. I mean, the new battle system, don't get me wrong, does look great, but you need the rest of the game to be there. You can't just design an entire game with one thing and just sort of completely cut out what makes the game special originally. It's like changing the formula completely. It's like we have all these other sort of games to do that with. You don't need to do it with this as well. And it would be really odd if they're taking this long and it's just the city. That's bizarre. There's got to be more areas. Say if they do it sort of different time periods, that could work so well. I think that would be perfect. Just a sort of circular area around the tower that you can visit, sort of in the past and future. So that, plot-wise, that would make sense. I think that would be perfect. So that's another thing. We also haven't seen ride Pokemon. So we see them sort of gliding across a gap with the Rotom phone, which, okay, fair enough. That works. We've seen a little bit of that in Scarlet Violet already. Fine. Not a problem. But and you've got the teleporters up the buildings. So okay, fine. I guess it makes sense that we wouldn't see ride Pokemon in the city, although technically Go-Go, I think, should be seen being ridden, but maybe we will at some point. But I think maybe when we go to the different time periods, we get access to different Pokemon to transport us. So, like, if we go to the village, maybe that will have Go-Go. Maybe we get to ride a Go-Go around the grasslands. And maybe when we go to the future, we'll get to ride a flying Pokemon. If the city's in the sky, in a sort of super advanced floating city, maybe we have to fly from one area to the next and get a flying ride Pokemon. And that sort of thing. So we could have the sort of Titan, essentially, Pokemon, maybe sort of Pokemon we have to tame when we first visit each of these areas. Or maybe as we progress through these areas. We have to tame a local Pokemon in that time period in order to use as a ride Pokemon. Maybe we'll get a Go-Goat in the city as well. Have to tame a Go-Goat so we can ride around. That could be an element of the story that we have to do as we go along. But it's just there's so much they could do with this, and it could be amazing if, like, even half of the stuff that I'm sort of coming up with, if they do anything like that, it would be an amazing game. It's just they haven't shown enough of it. And that's just really bugging me. That just a little bit more would have been amazing. Yeah, so from what we've seen with every Pokemon I think that we've seen so far is Pokemon that is already native to Kalos. And I think I was going through that when I was sort of working out what ones I needed for shinies. And I'm pretty sure every one we've seen is native to Kalos or is one that you get given quite frequently. So there was a lot of focus on Eevee, a lot of appearances from Eevee, but that doesn't really mean anything. Year of Eevee, they're probably showing it a bit more. It might have some sort of relevance, but hard to really tell. Oh, 12 minutes. I might be able to squeeze one more summon in after this. I might not get to finish it, but as it is, it's a bit of a slow shiny day again. Speed up a bit. But yeah, I've just been more sort of focused on talking about my thoughts on the ZA stuff. So I may have missed stuff, and I'm also rather tired from the weekend. So it's probably fairly understandable if I do miss a few. But it's weird that my first couple of streams I got loads of shinies in. And since then, the numbers have just plummeted. It's just really weird the way it's sort of gone back and forth like that. I must have just got really lucky in those first ones. Unless I'm just getting paranoid and going too slow. I just need to keep the speed up a bit more. But yeah, so as it looks, probably not going to be getting that towards the end of the year, which is a shame. So I was hoping to get that to do sooner rather than later, but kind of leaves me twiddling my thumbs a bit. But yeah, with my shiny hunt wise, I should So I've basically just got these two, the Dudunsparce and Tandemaus hunts to do, and Scarlet Violet, and then I'm done with that completely. Well, apart from some breeding, which I don't think I really want to do breeding on stream, because that'll be... I mean, even this isn't the most interesting of hunts, I know that. I'm realising I'm not getting as many viewers while I'm doing this. I started it, so I kind of want to finish it. And might as well do it on stream. So, last week I done the Legends Arceus hunting, and that was still a bit slow. I didn't get that many shinies from it. So I got a handful, but I wasn't really able to focus on specific Pokemon on that game, which was the big issue. So I'm thinking I probably won't be continuing to shiny hunt on Legends Arceus on stream, and just do that off stream, but there's not really much left for me to do on there. I did get a Togepi last week after stream. I actually managed to use a slightly different method that I hadn't managed to get to work before. I had to wait for... So I tried to get it to work once before and it hadn't worked. I tried it again and it did work. And then I tried it again and it didn't work again. So but I think only... From what I can tell, it only seemed to work after a regular outbreak had appeared in the area that the Togepi spawn. It didn't seem to work with massive mass outbreaks. So getting a regular outbreak in that position is fairly unlikely, so it might be a bit hard to repeat again because I still need another Togepi, and it's definitely not going to work for... I'm pretty sure it's not going to work for the unknown or... no. I don't think it will work for the unknown or Cherubi, unfortunately. But what I done was I defeated the outbreak, then saved before anything spawned back in. Because immediately after defeating the outbreak, the spawns are blocked because it says there's an outbreak there. But if you then save and reload, the outbreak is gone, so it spawns in Pokemon normally. And those Pokemon have not been generated before, so they're randomized. So if you keep resetting in that spot, you can keep resetting until you get a shiny. I'd seen people online doing it for alphas, and I wasn't sure if it would work with any of the stuff I wanted. So I tried it with massive mass outbreaks for unknown and stuff, and every time it seemed to generate the same Pokemon every time. So it didn't seem to work, but apparently it doesn't work for everything, and I think the only research people have done into it is for alphas specifically, not just general spawns. But so I did manage to get it to work for the Togepi once, so I could try that again if I get another outbreak in the right place. But yeah, so it's not really something is really suitable for streaming. So just doing a bit of random shiny hunting on there is fine. So I might do that again before ZA comes out. That's a shiny. So I might do that again before ZA comes out, just in celebration of it. But so I'm probably going to leave that, not do it as a regular stream or anything. So Scarlet and Violet I'm pretty much done with other than these hunts, so there's not really much more I can do with this. And if I go back to Sword and Shield, basically all I can really do on there is breeding, and there is the encounter thing, but I think that seems like a very awkward and long-winded method, which I'd rather not rely on for shiny hunting. Thanks for the follow. But yeah, so I'll be going. I think next week, or no, possibly this Wednesday, I might try doing the Let's Go games, a bit of shiny hunting. I don't know how long that would take me. I need to actually get a bit of practice on that again before then, because I haven't played them in ages. I'll probably do a bit more shiny hunting on there to try and get them. I think that will just be the catch combo method, so I might look into getting a catch combo built up before I stream, and then that way I'll be set up to at least start on it once I start on stream. Hopefully not break it or anything. But I think I've already worked out what Pokemon I need and where they are, so they should be fairly easy to find. I think I just haven't bothered getting them before. But I think there's like 5 Pokemon I need to do that with on Let's Go. But so I don't know how long that'll take me. That might be 1 stream, that might be 2. Don't know. I'll see how well the stream goes the first time, if I don't get them all in that stream. So you never know, I might just plough through them really quickly and get them all in 1 stream. Don't know yet. So beyond that, going forward, I don't really know. So I'm at a bit of a loose end to what to shiny hunt for at this point. So I was hoping Legends ZA would be coming sooner rather than later. That's probably not going to be happening straight away though, so got a bit more time to burn through. So the Switch 2 will give me something to do, so I might play some Switch 2 games when they come out, once they're announced, so I've got a month to wait until then. So the only thing I've been thinking of is Xenoblade. So we have the new battle system in Legend ZA, which reminded me I have a lot of Xenoblade's combat. So I'm thinking, do I just get a bit of a warm-up by playing a Xenoblade game? I do have Xenoblade Chronicles 3 that I've actually never played, which is kind of annoying. It's one of those games that I spend so long playing it, I just get so hung up on it. I was still playing 2 when 3 came out. I'd spent so long on that game, I would get sidetracked constantly. And I have a real bad issue with getting sidetracked in games. And that's why I don't play a lot of games. That's why I intentionally limit myself with what games I play. Because certain games I know I will enjoy, but I do not play because I know I'll enjoy them too much. I will spend too much time playing them. It is not a good thing to spend that much time on a single game. I mean, I spend a lot of time on Pokemon games already. I don't want another game that I'm just going to get hung up doing some stupid side quest that I probably shouldn't even be doing at that point anyhow. I've played so many games that I've done that on, and I really shouldn't have done. And yeah, and that happened with Xenoblade Chronicles. I think I made myself finish Xenoblade Chronicles 2 before Scarlet and Violet came out. But Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was already out by then, I think it was. And then I was playing Scarlet and Violet, and I still have not gone back to playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So it could be relevant now, because of the battle system, I think, is similar to ZA's announcement. So I think that could have some relevance. And we've got the Xenoblade Chronicles X or Cross remastered coming out, so maybe people want to watch gameplay of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 to see other games in the series if they're new to the series. So they might be interested to see a bit of that. Then doing it on stream, I'll probably be less inclined to get sidetracked, I hope. So maybe that'll help me sort of get through the game a bit smoother. But I might just do side quests off stream and continue with the main story on stream, possibly. So I'll have to see how that goes when I actually start playing the game. But yeah, I do love the Xenoblade games. I have some theories about the whole way they connect outside of the 1, 2 and 3 ones. That's explained in the story. But Xenoblade Chronicles X or Cross, whatever, how that connects into the bigger picture, I think a lot of people have said, oh, it doesn't, it's completely unrelated. I don't think that's the case. I think there is a connection. But it's a bit of an obscure thing that most people who played the Xenoblade games don't actually know about. And that's the other Xeno games. Because Xenoblade was not actually... so I'm just finished. Xenoblade was not actually the first game from the developer. So he had previously worked on a couple of other series, the Xeno Saga and Xenogears games were his previous creations. He'd also worked on the Final Fantasy games before that. But back in the day it was announced, he did reveal that the other Xeno games were actually connected. Not directly. It was a he described them as being different stories in the same timeline, told from different perspectives. Which explained why names were different and there were slight inconsistencies, because there were stories being told. So, sort of different versions of the same large story being told. So the whole oral tradition thing, where different people telling the same story tell it differently. That's not what I want, but that. But so if those games followed that sort of logic, what if Xenoblade follows the same logic? And I looked back into the whole Xenoverse timeline that people had created to piece the previous Xeno games together, and I realised that there was actually room for the Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles X or Cross to all sort of tie together through that timeline. But because the whole thing about the Xenoverse stories is that the Earth, or Eden, I think it's called in one of the games, that was lost long ago, or sort of believed to be destroyed long ago. And then ultimately it turns out that it was just in a pocket dimension. And when you think about it in that sort of context, that sounds very similar to what we learn about Xenoblade. The Earth was essentially destroyed, and then they attempted to recreate it, which created the world of Xenoblade 1, or worlds of Xenoblade 1, 2 and 3. And Xenoblade Chronicles Cross, or X, is what happened outside of that. That's where the Earth appeared to have just been destroyed. And then what's going on in the world straight after that, or in the universe straight after that, which could potentially then lead on to all the Xenogears and Xenosaga stuff. So I think we're just looking at the very start of the story in Xenoblade Chronicles X, and we're sort of recapping another side of that in Xenoblade Chronicles, and I think it could all piece together into one sort of cohesive story, not sort of direct connections, but I think it does sort of slot together in a sense. So I probably won't be getting Xenoblade Chronicles the remastered one on the Switch, because I spent so much time playing on that game on the Wii U. It's, again, I'd rather play 3 for the first time than X for a second time. And that's another one that I did get so hung up on. I didn't actually completely finish it. I finished the story of it, X, and there were some challenges that I would have to grind so long for to actually complete them, because you'd need certain weapons to beat certain enemies, and actually getting those weapons you had to like get the schematics for them, then get the parts for them. And each of these required different enemies to be beaten, and for some of them you needed different weapons for as well, so you had to do the same thing for them. I just didn't have the time to do it. It was already taken. I was already spending so much time playing the game, just normally, just trying to complete everything as it was. Getting to the point where I then need to do them, and I wasn't doing online stuff either. I think you could get some of the things easier online, but our internet sucked back then. So doing online stuff wasn't really a good idea for me back then, so I didn't. And that would probably made it easier, but I just didn't do it. So I ended up just sort of getting the story done, got as much as I could done, and it got to the point where I was just like, I have to just put this down and walk away. If I keep doing this, I will probably go mad. I do get hung up on things that much. Just wanting to complete it completely. It's like, I really shouldn't. This is such a pain in the ass to do. So it's... yeah. I think I needed to... yeah, I think I tried doing the online stuff, and it was just... I think it just kept dropping out. Our internet wasn't good enough at the time to do the online stuff, so... it wasn't an option. Same thing with Monster Hunter. I remember I had Monster Hunter Try on the Wii. And just I've been thinking about that a bit lately because of the Monster Hunter Wilds, which probably a lot of people are playing online right now. So probably a lot of streamers are playing Monster Hunter Wilds. And that's another game. As much as I'd enjoy playing the game, I know I'd spend too much time on it. If I had people specifically to play with, and I was sort of mainly just playing with them, then I'd be quite happy to play it. I'd quite enjoy playing it. But Monster Hunter Try, I was playing just by myself. I didn't really do the online stuff much. And I spent so long grinding for everything, trying to get all the different armor sets available. And so that, again, was a case of, you can quite easily get these by doing these tasks online, these missions online. But I wasn't doing it online, I was doing it by myself. So... it was taking me a lot longer than normal. I can't actually remember if I ended up beating the final boss, even. I think that was one I was grinding like mad to try and get the best gear for, and I just couldn't get better gear than what I had. I was taking so long. I think I gave up and ended up trying to... I think me and my friend tried alternating between us trying to do it, taking it in turns, and I think we were so close to beating it, but I don't think we actually did in the end. I think it took so long to beat it once that, assuming I managed to beat it, I don't know. I don't remember. Even if we did, it took so long, I just wouldn't have been interested in doing it again, because it was so difficult without the best stuff. and you basically had to go online to get the best stuff, as far as I'm aware, or just grind for days. There's the whole thing where you had to destroy a certain body part, and in order to get the right drops from the monsters. It's like, when I'm doing that on my own, if I'm trying to get its tail, but it's just attacking me, it's facing me, I can't get to its tail. That kept happening. I could get the horns and stuff, fine. It was when you needed a tail, and like wings and stuff, I couldn't get to them because it was facing me. With multiple people playing, that's a lot easier because you can have one person drawing its attention, tank. One person draws its attention, then everyone else attacks the different body parts. You get all the different drops, and so much easier. But just doing it on my own, just gonna do it. And back on the Wii, really couldn't do that. I did have a internet adapter for it, but I think that was only used when I was at uni, and the internet at uni sucked anyhow. And yeah, it wasn't. I didn't have a huge amount of time at uni. And most of what free time I did have was just spent on my DS and stuff. I did really enjoy Monster Hunter, but I would be opposed to playing it. I would just want to have a group of people to play it with on a regular basis, which I don't. Same with Baldur's Gate. So one of my friends keeps sort of mentioning Baldur's Gate, but it's a case of I would be up for playing it, but I'd need to know that I'm actually going to get my money's worth for getting the game. If I'm going to get the game, I know I'm going to want to play it on a regular basis and actually spend a lot of time on it and make it worth the purchase, because it's not exactly a cheap game. So that's generally where my choice in games comes from. It's like, will I actually get my money's worth from this game? So most Nintendo games, yes I will. Because I know I'll put the time into them. But some games I just like put on a Christmas list just as something to ask for. And then I hardly play them. I still need to get back to Metroid Dread. So I haven't finished that. To be honest, the 2D Metroids I'm not as fond of. I do prefer the first person ones. There's so many games that I would play, but I just don't have time. Or I'm just too concerned that I would spend too much time playing that over something else that I also want to play. So I've got these things to play, I should play them. But yeah, so Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is probably my next thing to go to, because I have never played it, so, and I want to. So I played Batman Arkham Knight previously, and streaming wise that wasn't a hugely popular game to play. So it's a bit of an old game, most people have played it, and it's not really particularly relevant at the moment. So didn't really stand out or anything, but maybe with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, if people are sort of interested in the franchise again because of Xenoblade Chronicles X Remastered, maybe it could get a few more viewers. So people wanting to see more of the franchise. So if people are new to the series with Xenoblade Chronicles X, they might want to see the other games. What did annoy me about Xenoblade Chronicles X Remastered is that they're adding a new story element, a sort of storyline to it. It's like, oh, I've already played the game, I want to know the story. I really want to know the story, but I don't want to play through the entire game again just to get to that story. And if they'd done it just as a DLC for the original game, that would have been fine, but they can't even do that now because the whole eShop's shut down. But and the original game was a huge game, so that big open world, they had to load stuff onto the console itself because they couldn't run it just from the game card properly. Oh, the discs properly, sorry. So it needs to load it into the internal memory in order to load everything properly. Or quickly, is more likely the issue. But yeah, so some games I love so much, but I just haven't got round to playing them. I've seen, is it Unavowed has been about lately? It's just like this. People are calling it the spiritual sequel to Skyrim. Skyrim, another game. I'm certain I would enjoy it. I have played it a bit. I got it on my Switch when it first came out. But I've hardly played it. And what time I did spend playing it, I was doing so stupid things. I was just trying to do too much before I was ready to. And I was losing track of what I was supposed to be doing constantly. And just getting lost. I got lost repeatedly. And I think what ended up breaking me on it was when I seemed to I upset the wrong people and ended up with the bounty hunters coming after me, and I could not do anything without them attacking me. And they were considerably higher level than me because I was right at the start of the game. I probably shouldn't have triggered them as early as I did. I probably went somewhere I really shouldn't have gone. And I was paying the price for it, and it's like, I love the fact that it's done this, but it sucks for me because I just want to play the game, and I can't play the game like this. And I think I just got so frustrated with it, I gave up. Which was a shame. I probably would have enjoyed Skyrim a lot more if that hadn't happened. If I'd to play it more. I think it's also a bit of a case of I would love to play it with people a lot of the time. There's certain games I would love to play, but I really want to play them with people, and I just don't have people to play them with. So if I was invited to play a game with someone said, "Do you want to play this game with us?" then yeah, sure, I'll get the game. I'll play it with you. But I just don't know enough people that would do that. So, one of my friends plays World of Warcraft. I did start playing World of Warcraft at one point, and I spent so much time on it. He'd already been playing for years, and I was just playing catch-up. So I was grinding through everything just to try and get everything I could possibly do done. And he had a whole guild and stuff that he'd raid with each week, and I didn't really get into the guild stuff properly at that point. So I was just doing stuff on my own, and it turned out I was actually able to keep up with him quite well, so just doing my own stuff. But I would have liked to have done more sort of proper sort of small group stuff rather than sort of big guild stuff. Then he stopped playing the game because he got bored of it, and so I still wanted to play it because I was still behind. I wanted to finish catching up. By the time I did catch up, he'd stopped playing, and I didn't have anyone to play with again. So it was just eventually I stopped playing myself. And he's now back playing the game on a regular basis, and I would now need to catch up again because he's gone so far ahead. So I would need that guarantee that if we were to start something, we'd all be starting from scratch and we'd be playing through it together, not just me trying to keep up or being carried and stuff. So Baldur's Gate is one that I would definitely be up for, but it has been brought up a few times with our sort of little group of friends to play it, but we would have to play it on a regular basis, and there is no way we can actually get all of us together that often, because we've all got different things on. So I'm not too bad. I might be a little bit on the drag from time to time, but if I'm doing a Pokemon Go event one day, but the times that they get on, I might not actually that late, so even if I'm late, I'll be getting on at the same time as they are. So, not too bad in that regard. But yeah, I just want that guarantee. So if I'm invited to play a game, I'd want to play it properly with them, which I think is a fair thing to say. Don't want to sort of invest money in something that they're not going to use. People say that I have loads of money. I don't have loads of money. I just am very careful with how I spend my money. I only spend it on what I need to. I spend it on what I need to enjoy the things I enjoy, how I enjoy them. So, so even my sort of stream setup I've got right now, my capture card, literally just a £10 capture card, the cheapest one I could find. It works. There is a little bit of delay with the capture and what the game's actually doing, so I then had to get a splitter so I could split the output to TV and laptop. Well, TV and capture card. It works, but it's all on a very tight budget that I'm doing. But I don't think that's an issue. I think that, but yeah, so I'm just very careful with how I spend money. I play Magic each week, but at the moment, because I'm not earning money, I don't really want to be spending too much on Magic, so I started selling my old cards, and I've made like £3,000 from selling cards, and what I've spent on Magic cards in that time is about 1,000 in total. Well, actually, I haven't been including events and stuff in that. It would be more than that with events on top of it, but 650 events is not really. So it might be like 2,000 including all the events, really, but tops. But I've still made more money than I've spent from selling cards, and each week the money I'm making from selling cards is more than what I'm spending on Magic that week. So it's just I'm careful with that sort of thing. I don't build decks that are especially expensive. I tend to build most of my decks on a fairly tight budget, and I'll only spend money to upgrade them if they're already doing well. So I have a bit more of an issue when it comes to the Switch 2. How do I rationalise the spending on that? So I'm not exactly making money to cover it. I have plenty in savings that I've saved up over the years, which, I mean, I don't have holidays. I haven't been abroad or on a proper holiday in years. Usually when I take off time for a holiday, it's literally to play a game. And it's like, what I really save up is so much more than what I spend when I was working, and that's why I've got the money I've got, but I don't really want to chip into that too much while I'm not working. So Switch 2, yeah, I've made enough money in the past that I can probably allow myself to get that, and sort of the odd new game here and there is fine. But I mean, I get sort of money for Christmas and stuff to get myself something I want, and I've not spent that yet, so yeah, that will go towards it. I don't want to be spending money on a game that I'm never going to play. And when I buy a game that I want to play and then I don't play it, that really annoys me. Which is currently the case with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So it's sitting in... I carry it with me in my Switch case to start playing it, but I've never actually started playing it. But I might do that for stream. So I'll see about that. Anyway, I was supposed to be going down for dinner. How long have I got left on the sandwich? 10 minutes. I might just try and... Just try to send a message on my phone. Finish this sandwich. I misspelled that. Oh well, now you probably know what it means. I just try and finish this sandwich off, so 3 shinies today is not a great one. So my shiny rate has not been great lately. So the first 3 sandwiches, I've at least got 1 from each sandwich. I don't know why it's changed like this. So the first 2 streams I done doing the shiny hunt, I got loads of shinies. It's like 10 and 12 or something like that. And since then, nothing. It's just really dropped. Yeah, they're gonna hold my dinner for me for a few minutes. That's fine. To be honest, most of the time the veg is undercooked anyhow, so going back under the oven for a bit probably wouldn't be the worst thing. Just trying to... I don't like leaving things unfinished. Every time I've stopped a sandwich short, it's like I then get a shiny and I'm like, okay, I kind of wish I'd got this on stream. I have a habit of getting shinies at the last second. I mean, my first sandwich, I literally, as the sandwich was about to end, I'd basically given up on it and got the shiny. I would like to get another shiny. Just, if I can at least get 1 from each sandwich, just sort that out. I don't know why this has dropped so much. Am I just not paying as much attention? Is my attention just slipping as I'm doing this and I'm missing shinies? Really stop riding backwards as well. I'll just keep the throttle down. Maybe try the other spot. There's the back and forth platform that might help a little bit. It's not as interesting, but might work better than this. Right, where is it? There. I just have to look around for it because I don't know which direction exactly. Check the one that's usually on the ground. It's not one on the ground. Oh, that's unusual. Any pink? Nope. So I just want to get one more shiny, just so I've got at least 4. Everything's going up on my phone at once. This one's annoying because it's very easy for them to spawn just as you're moving away. So it's a bit annoying like that, but there's not really much you can do about that. Thanks for the follow. I'm afraid I'm just sort of finishing off this sandwich and we'll then be calling it a day. Just trying to get one more shiny before I end. With 4 minutes left on the clock. Just hoping to get one more. So my shiny rate's been a bit low lately, so I'm just trying to I'm trying a different approach with this spot to see if I can get one more. So my first streams got loads of shinies, and more recent ones have got hardly any, and it's really annoying me. So I'm just trying to get just one more. I've got 3 so far today, which is very low. The lighting isn't great here either. Got messages coming through on my phone and all sorts at the same time. I don't do 2 things at once. What's that? No, I thought that was a pink one. It was lighting. The fact that some of the lighting in this area is pink does not help the situation. Is this just going to throw me off one that's going to help me? I do have the DLC, but I don't really have time to help you out with anything at the moment, so I'm just about to finish. So I'd probably suggest trying to look up the trade codes that they do. So they quite often do trade codes where you can trade stuff back and forth. So that might be a better option for you. Or some sort of forum, maybe. See, trying asking around on forums and stuff. See if anyone can help you. No worries. Have a great day yourself. Come on. One minute left. Is this going to pay off or not? This is going to be annoying. Every time I see something spawn right at the edge, just as I'm about to move out of range of it, I'm thinking, was that a shiny I just missed? Trying to do 2 things at once and pretty run down from the weekend anyhow. Isn't helping. haven't been as bad as I thought I would, but I think it's more physical exhaustion than mental today, so... I have one hand right now, so... the other hand's on my phone. Anyway, this is going to end in a sec, so I might as well be signing off, unfortunately. Yep, that just finished. I just saw that. And that's unfortunate. 3 shinies, that's probably the lowest yet. So, I have already saved, so I'll shut this down in a sec. So it was these 3. Are any of them marked or anything, at least? Nope, not even marked. Right, well, 3 for today, but whatever. Not the best outcome. So I'll be uploading this to YouTube as usual. I'll be going up later tonight, so you can watch the other shiny hunts, which, including the more successful ones, on there. But basically, just wanted to use this one to talk about the Legends EA reveals, so I at least got that done. I should be back on Wednesday, probably on the Let's Go games, trying to do a bit of shiny hunting on there, and probably sort of work out what I want to do going forward. So I'm thinking Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on Wednesdays. I may spend a couple of weeks on Let's Go on Wednesdays. Don't know yet. So we'll just have to wait and see. But until then, thanks for watching. You can check me out on YouTube and drop me a follow or whatnot. Would be great. If you want to know when I go next go live, you can do that as well. So usually Monday and Wednesday, about 3 till 5 UK time, give or take. So run a bit longer today. Started a bit late as well. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you around.